The war for independence intensifies. With the Declaration of Independence boldly proclaimed on the 4th of July, 1776, the American colonies had officially declared themselves a new nation, the United States of America. But declaring independence was just the beginning. Now came the hardest part: winning a war against the British Empire, the most powerful military force on earth. Battles and bloodshed. The war quickly escalated, turning into a brutal, grinding conflict that would last 8 long years. In the summer of 1776, the British launched a massive campaign to crush the rebellion in the key city of New York. The British Navy and thousands of soldiers arrived, forcing the Continental Army under George Washington to retreat in a series of painful defeats. But Washington, though outnumbered and outgunned, refused to give up. His leadership kept the fragile army together through the harsh winter of 1776. The turning point: Trenton and Princeton. On Christmas night, 1776, Washington pulled off a daring and risky plan. Crossing the icy Delaware River, he launched a surprise attack against the Hessian mercenaries, German soldiers hired by the British stationed in Trenton, New Jersey. The victory was small but electrifying. It boosted American morale and proved that the Continental Army could win. Soon after, Washington won another important battle at Princeton, forcing the British to withdraw from much of New Jersey. These victories reignited hope that the revolution might succeed. International allies joined the fight. The American struggle caught the attention of foreign powers eager to weaken Britain. In 1778, after news of the American victory at Saratoga reached Europe, France formally allied with the United States. The French provided crucial military support: soldiers, ships, weapons, and funding, turning the tide of the war. Spain and the Netherlands would later join as allies too, turning what was once a colonial rebellion into a global conflict. Challenges and sacrifices. But the war was far from easy. American soldiers endured terrible hardships: freezing winters, scarce food, disease, and relentless battles. At Valley Forge in the winter of 1777-78, Washington's troops suffered through hunger and cold, but their spirit was tempered by determination and training from European officers like Baron von Steuben. Meanwhile, the British focused on the southern colonies, hoping to rally loyalists who still supported the crown. Battles in Charleston, Camden, and Cowpens saw fierce fighting, brutal guerrilla warfare, and deep divisions among Americans themselves. The dawn of a new nation. Despite the hardships, the ideals of liberty, self-government, and independence kept the American cause alive. Patriots fought not just for land or politics, but for a vision, a future where freedom and equality could flourish. By 1781, after years of war, the British Army, under General Cornwallis, found itself trapped at Yorktown, Virginia. With the help of French forces on land and sea, Washington's army forced Cornwallis to surrender. It was the decisive victory that would end the fighting and secure American independence. And the Treaty of Paris and a new beginning. 2 years later, in 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed. Britain recognized the independence of the United States. The colonies were no longer British subjects but citizens of a free and sovereign nation. The American Revolution had succeeded. But the journey was just beginning. The war tested the young nation's resolve, unity, and ideals. It forged heroes, sacrificed many, and laid the foundation for the United States we know today. The dream of independence had become a reality, but the work of building a new country was just starting. The aftermath and building the new nation. The guns fell silent at Yorktown in 1781, and the Treaty of Paris in 1783 officially ended the Revolutionary War. America had won its independence, a monumental achievement that reshaped the world. But victory was only the beginning. The 13 colonies were now 13 independent states, united in name but struggling with many questions. What kind of nation would they become? How could 13 separate states govern together? How would they protect the freedoms they fought so hard for? The challenges of unity. At first, The new United States was governed by the Articles of Confederation, a loose alliance that gave most power to the states. But this system proved weak. The national government couldn't collect taxes, regulate trade, or enforce laws effectively. It was like a ship without a captain. Economic problems, debt from the war, and unrest among farmers and veterans showed the country was fragile. Leaders realized that the revolution wasn't just about breaking away from Britain, it was about building something new and stronger. The Constitutional Convention. In 1787, delegates from the states met in Philadelphia once again, this time to create a new constitution. It was a bold experiment, to build a government that balanced power and freedom, protecting individual rights while ensuring unity. Figures like George Washington, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and Benjamin Franklin debated, compromised, and crafted the framework of the new republic. The result was the United States Constitution, a living document that would guide the nation's future. The Bill of Rights. To ensure the protection of personal freedoms, the first 10 amendments, known as the Bill of Rights, were added in 1791. These guarantees, including freedom of speech, religion, and the right to a fair trial, became cornerstones of American liberty. They reflected the deep desire of the new nation to protect the very rights that sparked the Revolution. The legacy of the Revolution. The American Revolution wasn't just a war, it was a radical new idea. It said governments must serve the people, not the other way around. It inspired movements around the world, from the French Revolution to struggles for independence in Latin America and beyond. For the United States, it was the beginning of a long journey toward realizing the ideals of liberty, justice, and equality. A nation in progress. The young United States faced many challenges ahead, expanding westward, confronting internal divisions, and living up to its promises. But the spirit of the revolution, courage, hope, and a belief in freedom continued to guide the nation. The story of America's independence is more than a history lesson. It's a living reminder that the fight for liberty requires vigilance, sacrifice, and unity. Closing thought. From the first shot fired at Lexington to the signing of the Constitution, the United States carved its path with determination and vision. This journey reminds us, freedom is not given, it is earned. It is built by those who dare to dream of a better future and who are willing to fight for it. The American Revolution wasn't just the birth of a nation. It was the birth of an idea that continues to shape the world today.